there has been so much confusion around these tariffs. As someone who watches this kind of thing closely, how clear are things for you?
Oh my gosh, unfortunately, not the most clear. We're learning at the same time as everyone else what is happening on the US side and then what's happening with the Canadian countermeasures as well. So, unfortunately, I foresee a period of uncertainty to come.
Okay, as best as you can tell at this point at least, how much do you think Nova Scotia will feel the effects of these retaliatory tariffs that were announced yesterday?
So, Trump didn't announce any retaliatory tariffs on Canada yesterday. So, what he announced yesterday was what we had already heard was coming. And then, as of today, the U.S. auto tariffs were being implemented as well. But we already foresaw that coming as well. So, Trump did say that there could be more to come in terms of some strategic sectors that he wants to focus on implementing tariffs. He mentioned pharmaceuticals, lumber, semiconductor. So we're still in very much a wait and see kind of situation in terms of what more Trump is going to do and what he might do in response to the Canadian counter tariffs that have just been announced.
I mean, the U.S. is talking about a lot of different aspects in this for sure. It is putting a 25% tariff on all imports of foreign-made vehicles. Canada says it's going to respond with 25% tariff on all vehicles that are, quote, not compliant with CUSMA, the free trade agreement. Either way, are cars and trucks going to be more expensive?
That would certainly be the assumption, because not only will the tariffs apply to cars that are coming into Canada that are not CUSMA compliant. And I should say I don't know what share of cars it is, so it's hard to say how broad the price increases will be. But also, since the U.S. is implementing tariffs, across the board for many different countries, automotive supply chains can be highly global, and also we are highly integrated with the U.S. supply chain. So it's really hard to say how any tariffs that the U.S. is implementing on parts coming into their country will then filter through to automobile prices in Canada, coming from the U.S., coming from vehicles that are non-compliant with CUSMA.
Yeah, it seems so difficult to unravel and to dissect here, but there's the 25% levy on the foreign-made vehicles. We make car parts, tires at Michelin, for example, the big one. How will these tariffs affect those kinds of things?
They will certainly be effective. I think we're still waiting to see in terms of how the U.S. government will implement tariffs when it comes to the non-U.S. auto parts. He did mention that he is going to be specific, or the administration is going to be specifically implementing tariffs on parts that did not originate from the U.S. If they, are an input to the vehicle that's coming into the U.S. So we're still waiting to see what will happen there.
We're all waiting to see what happens, I suppose. We're in this tariff, counter-tariff era now. Do you see more of that? And will the U.S. expand things to, say, come after our dairy industry, for example? What are you seeing in the next weeks and months?
Yeah, absolutely. We know that President Trump is not a fan of what's going on with our dairy or supply management system here within Canada. So it remains to be seen whether he'll take specific action on that. And, I understand that Prime Minister Carney, in his response to the U.S. tariffs, he's trying to be very specific, trying not to broaden the impacts in terms of all goods coming from the United States, or even a wide selection of goods coming from the United States. So he's really focused on the latest kind of round of tariffs coming from the auto sector. So we will see what President Trump thinks of those measures and whether he will be responding with reciprocal tariffs on that.
And I hear some people saying, it could have been a lot worse. We're not a country that's being affected the way perhaps some other countries are. But lots of questions, as you point out. So what effect is all this uncertainty having?
Well, we have certainly talked to businesses and read about businesses within Canada and within Atlantic Canada who are taking a pause right now. They're waiting to see what will happen, and they're holding off on big key strategic expansions or operational plans to determine the best course of action once they get a little bit more clarity from the situation.
Is it somewhat fair to say, at least, that the trade has changed forever or for the foreseeable future?
Absolutely. I think Prime Minister Carney kind of put it well yesterday when he was saying that this has fundamentally changed the trading system globally.
Lots to talk about in the future about this, so for sure. Really appreciate your comments on this today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.